Hello, and we're back for the second episode, or second time this week. Yous are so lucky, genuinely, incredibly lucky. And we're here, and we're going over, or sort of like our thoughts and predictions for the 66th annual Grammys that are happening on the 4th of February. This video is like a week in advance, just so we can get our like predictions out there, and then we'll also do like a video, like recap and everything. But we're also going to do.
We'll talk about everything in that recap video. We'll
Yes.
talk about our predictions if we were right. We'll talk about outfits, performances. It'll be fun. It'll be a good video.
All the good stuff.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, and if you want to watch the Grammys with us, we will be doing a watch party in our Discord. So the link's in the middle of the page and in the description. So yeah, if you want to join it, and we'll be there, and we'll be experiencing it all, hopefully with you.
Yeah, if you don't have anywhere to watch it, we'll have a stream there for you, and we'll also have discussion. We'll chit chat. So join. It'll be fun.
It will be.
Yeah. Do you want to get started? So just for the record, before we start, we're not going to go through every single award because that would take us 5 hours. So we picked out like the main, like the big 4 awards. So like Record of the Year, Album of the Year, Best New Artist. And then we also are going to talk about the pop awards because that's based on the Music Shack. If you have listened to our podcast, that's the kind of music that we're both into and that we have the most expertise on. So we're going to talk about those awards as well. Otherwise, we won't be talking about it. But if there is like any big people who win or anything for those, we will talk about it in our recap video for sure. But we're going to go through each award. We're going to talk about what we think they'll pick for the winners, and then we'll see what happens. Don't attack us if we're wrong.
And leave your like predictions in the comments, and then you can go back on that episode of the 4th as well.
Yes.
And feedback. You might do better than us. I don't know. Grammys, it's like a really tight competition in certain categories this year, so you that's a high possibility.
Okay, I'll leave the big awards for the end of the video, I think. Let's start with the best pop vocal album. So for best pop vocal album, we have Ed Sheeran's Subtract, Kelly Clarkson's Chemistry, Miley Cyrus's Endless Summer Vacation, Olivia Rodrigo's Guts, and Taylor Swift's Midnights. Jack, who do you think is going to win?
Little bit like biased towards our like favorite artist here, but I think there is a lot of strong contenders in this category. But I think Midnight's showed a lot of like different things. Like Midnight's was like a big kind of mash of like a lot of different styles and sort of just like really interesting like vocals and like production and stuff. And I think, in my opinion, of like what pop and where pop is going, I think that's like a really high like sort of like album to like kind of put things against. What about you?
I think I completely agree. I think I feel like the Midnights is pretty much a sealed win for this. Like, I'm gonna be shocked like if anything else wins. Just like we'll get to Album of the Year, and I think the field there is much more has a lot more competition, but I honestly think like it's between like Taylor, Olivia, and Miley for this, to be honest. Yeah. But I think Taylor her album is so much more cohesive than the other two. Like, not that those aren't just, I think that's something that the Grammys look at when they're looking at the album. So I'm going to say Taylor as well. Honestly, I agree with you. And if we're wrong, attack us that we're biased.
I think like Subtract is definitely, and then, like it's a good choice to put in this category, but I think it was more. It's not my favorite piece of like Ed's work.
I know. I mean, his like new album, like Autumn Variations, I like a lot better than Subtract personally, which we actually never talked about in the podcast. True. But anyway,
don't come for us. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I think Midnight's is like pretty much like sealed a winner in this category, to be honest.
I'd love to see like Olivia or Miley take home something, and you know what, they're in different categories, so it might happen. An Endless Summer Vacation, brilliant album. Guts, brilliant album. I think just if we're talking like cohesively, like an all-rounded, well like produced and an album that brings a lot to the table, I think Midnight's is a really like a good choice for that.
So the next one is best pop duo and group performance. So this is, a collaboration. So we have Labyrinth featuring Billie Eilish, Never Felt So Alone. Lana Del Rey featuring Jon Batiste, Candy Necklace. Miley Cyrus featuring Brandi Carlile, Thousand Miles. SZA featuring Phoebe Bridgers, Ghost in the Machine. And Taylor Swift featuring Ice Spice, Karma. Personally, I feel like Karma might I feel like Karma featuring Ice Spice was almost like literally made so that Taylor would get a nomination in this category. Which is a really funny thing to say, but I don't think it's gonna win. I feel like SZA featuring Phoebe Bridgers is probably what I'm gonna say for this. But I also think Miley featuring Brandi Carlile is like very strong contender. I feel like this is an interesting one. What do you think, Jack?
No, I came into this when we were obviously going through the categories, like when you'd like send me the list of them and stuff, and I'd seen like who was in it. I think like Taylor and Ice Spice on Karma, it was an interesting like duo and an interesting mix. It's definitely not like my favourite collab that Taylor's ever been a part of, and I think it was like, I think this is what you've said, it's pretty much how I feel about it. Like, it was made for this type of thing, and like to be like nominated or to be like part of this like like category. I think the strongest performance from this list is like, I'd probably have to say Ghost in the Machine. That's what I wrote down. I think we're not gonna all have the same opinion, but it is genuinely. No. I think whenever you.
I'm gonna be different, and I'm gonna put my final choice as Miley Cyrus featuring Brandi Carlile.
Watch me
Miles,
win,
just to be different, because I feel like it's between the two. And if you're gonna say one, I'm gonna say the other, not to be like annoying, but I don't know. I think, I think that that's pretty. I think this is honestly, like, usually there's like one, especially for a pop duo group performance, there's like always one that I'm like, this is obviously gonna win. But this year it feels like there's a lot of collabs that happened. I don't know why.
I'm looking at the list, and I've never actually listened to Never Felt So Alone, so I feel like I'm definitely out of my like thingy there. But we all know like Billie like always like pops off in features, but I think it's really hard to have a song with Phoebe Bridgers and it not be amazing. I don't know.
Oh, I agree.
So like, I feel bad.
And
that
it's
I've
also like exact,
one, but
like no, it's fine. I think it also, like, in terms of what the Grammys look for in terms of songwriting and also composition and like production, it just has everything in that song, which is why I think it's good. And I mean, same with Miley featuring Brandi. I think it's like very similar. Like, it has everything that they usually look for in the Grammys. And I would say like Karma. No offense to Karma. Not to, we keep bringing up Karma, but I just feel like it's not a Grammy winning collab.
It's also, I don't think it's a Grammy award winning song as well. Like,
I know. It just feels like it was very much thrown together. Like, it didn't feel like cohesive as a collab, which I think is really important.
I also feel like it's very fanfare. Like, it's a song for fans, like, in a way, like, to like sort of like poke fun at like all the Karma stuff. So I don't know. I don't think it had that in mind.
I agree.
There's a ton of choices.
Okay. Next up, we have best pop solo performance. We have Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For? We have Doja Cat, Paint the Town Red. Miley Cyrus, Flowers. Olivia Rodrigo, Vampire. And Taylor Swift, Antihero. This one I'm really struggling with who's gonna win. Personally, I think this is stacked. I absolutely love how there's all women in this category. Fuck men. Like, these are all iconic songs, so I don't know. What do you think?
This is extremely hard category. I went for a list and like sort of like done this beforehand, and I was sort of really battling towards my main two were like Antihero and What Was I Made For. But also like looking at this, like Doja Cat, Paint the Town Red was like a stunning like performance of like vocals and like artistry. Flowers, again, like beautiful song. Vampire, like such a stunning like kind of track for like Olivia to come back on. It really like showed like her arrange from like our old stuff to like sort of like bringing in this new stuff. But like What Was I Made For, like the severity that song held, and like for what it done, for the like for where it was placed in like Barbie, and like for what the song speaks about, and what the song like represents, and how it was performed, and how it all came together. I think it's hard to get like a better song than that. I don't know. I think it was like for this 2023, it's like one of my like main contenders for like just like top song.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. I I that's I feel like, okay, I agree. I think I'm gonna go with Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For. This is gonna be interesting because when it comes to like best pop solo performance, and then we go to categories we're gonna be talking about later, specifically record of the year, I feel like the nominees are very similar, and I feel like it's gonna be the same person who wins both. Right. But I think, yeah, like What Was I Made For, it's so hard for me because obviously, like, when we talk about best pop solo performance, when Grammy is like, for those of you who don't know, like, when they say performance, they're talking about every single aspect of the song, from production to songwriting to everything. Whereas Song of the Year, for example, is focused on songwriting, and Record of the Year is more focused on production. Right? And so I'm kind of thinking, like, this is interesting because I have to separate those two things. Because if I think about songwriting, What Was I Made For is like the clear winner for me.
Yeah. But
I also think Antihero is very good with songwriting as well. And I'll have this discussion again in Song of the Year because it's going to come down to the same for me. But I also think it's interesting because What Was I Made For in terms of a production value, it was made for a movie. So the production is very different, like it was made for a movie, right? Because it has to be scored with the movie, and that's how it is. So I don't know if it is actually going to win this, even though I think it's a really good song and definitely deserves the nomination. I'm now thinking like it's probably going to be Antihero, is what I'm going to lock in as. But I also think that Olivia Rodrigo Vampire has a very good shot at this.
That like if I think if there was a category that Olivia can walk away with, it's this. Yeah.
This one.
But also, Antihero is like, it's hard to not say Taylor for a lot of these, because I think with what like Midnight's came with, and so like for like the album categories or like just the song categories, like Antihero like is like, I think it's quite levels above like everything, like in terms of like from Taylor's like recent stuff. Like if you like pair all like Midnights together, like not just like obviously the songwriting, like there's songs that are like so heavily detailed with the songwriting, but like if you're looking at like the production side of things, if you're looking about like even just like the replayability and everything, like it all comes into play, and it's like such a strong contender for like every category it's in.
I think I'm going to have this conversation again for Record of the Year. I think Song of the Year and versus Record of the Year is going to be really interesting. And I think Vampire, I feel like it's almost like impossible for me to imagine a world where the person who wins Best Pop Solo Performance doesn't win Record of the Year, which is crazy just because, like, it has been different and it could be different, but I just, like, in my head I'm like, maybe Vampire will win this and Antihero will win Record of the Year, but it's like, I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think that would make sense. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So I'm locking in Antihero. Jack, you're locking in
What Was I Made For?
Yeah. Okay. We will move on to the next one now, which is Best New Artist, which we did talk about briefly on our podcast. If you didn't know, we have a podcast. if you're new here. And we talk about things every week. We upload the episodes on this YouTube channel and on Spotify platforms. So be sure to check that out. But let's get into best new artist. So we have a bunch of nominees here. Very fun new artists. Coco Jones, iconic. Gracie Abrams. We have Fred Again, Ice Spice, Jelly Roll, Noah Kahan, Victoria Monet, and the Warren Treaty. And I'm just going to go, I said this on the podcast last week, I think that this is a stacked category. Yeah. I personally think it's between Ice Spice, Noah Kahan, and Victoria Monet. That I'm going to have to say it's probably going to be Ice Spice. Because it's like between popularity and songwriting qualities, and I feel like Victoria Monet, in terms of like songwriting and music and all that, is probably up like the first, and production. She is probably who I would say is the best, but she's not popular like Ice Spice is, right? And Noah Kahan kind of has a bit of both, which is why I put him in as like a contender. But I feel like the world is gonna go insane if Ice Spice doesn't win, so I don't know. What do you think, Jack?
This is like this is hard. I keep saying that for every one, but it is so fucking hard to choose. I've really battled between. I feel like they're gonna play it really weird this year, and I don't think. Yeah. I'm gonna say like out of the bat, like I don't think Ice Spice is gonna win it, and it depends what way they go. I don't know. They might not that anybody should like ever be like not given an award for like any other reason, like to like I don't know, to like play socials or anything like that. Like it should never be like that. Yeah. But like we have seen like a lot of upsets in the past and everything. I just think if you're gonna look at best new artists, you have to look at someone who's came up and constantly like stayed up and hasn't dipped off at all. Like hasn't like sort of seen not any dip off. But, like,
which I guess
you shouldn't be able to stop hearing about them initially, right?
Which is,
and then it's also like
Ice
what they bring
Spice
to the table.
Like maybe that.
So Ice Spice obviously done really well and blew up and is still doing really well. But I think when you're looking at like songwriting, and I know rap and R&B comes with a lot of like storytelling, and like that is some of the most in depth like we'll ever get from songwriting. Is like from like rap and R&B because of the storytelling aspect of it. But I think this is gonna be, I really don't know what to choose. I have a really, as much as I love Gracie, right, like so much. Like she's actually there and there. Yeah. I really have a feeling that she's gonna walk away with it, and I think
not that she
doesn't deserve it. She does deserve it, but I just think I have a really weird feeling in the back of my mind, and if I don't follow it, I'm gonna kick myself, even if it's wrong. I think.
Okay.
I'm really stuck between Noah, because I think Noah getting it would be a really sort of like incredible, like inspiring, like sort of thing. I just have a feeling that Gracie's going to get it, and I don't know why, but I can't kick it, and I feel like I'm just going to have to go for it, because again, like if I don't, I'm just going to
maybe your instinct will be right, and I'm going to be shocked because
I can't kick it,
because I have said from the start there is no way Gracie wins.
Literally just it's just this like sort of thing in the back of my mind. I'm like, what if, or like not what if, but like like I feel like I just don't know. I feel like it could happen.
Because I've said from the start, there's no way Gracie wins, and I'm like, I'm shocked that you said that, because I talk about that all the time, and I feel like maybe I influenced you, but I feel like if she wins, at least you picked her. You know, like you never doubted. I doubted.
No, see, when you said that in the past, I thought it as well, because she's incredible, I still don't think like she's at like she, and I always feel bad for saying this because we're like not artists, like we don't, like I can't sing for like anybody's business.
No, me either.
Like so when we talk about like people's like, or even like songwriting, like I can't write 2 words or sentences together. I can't hardly speak 2 sentences together. But I think she's just got so much like potential ahead of her, and I don't think she's at like the level she's gonna ever be at. Like she's got so much like growing and so much to learn and like adapt and learn from, and I 100% think down the years like she's going to be in some of these categories and like win some of them, and like And
Oh
same with
yeah,
Noah.
I agree.
Like Noah's only just started. I think it's obviously helped. And if I was to really pick like a popularity thing, I think it would be Noah, because Noah's everywhere. Like he's just not left this whole year. Like he's everywhere.
I think it's interesting though, because you have to remember that the Grammys season is from November to November, right? So Noah's really popular right now, and he kind of blew
At the
up,
start of this year, was it not?
I would say, in the summer. Like he became more popular at the start of this year, but his actual blow up was Dial Drunk, right? Like that's when he became really popular. And like his concert tickets started to get really expensive and shit. So I would say that and now he's like persisted. But who knows, like when he stops touring and stuff, like, and when he stops releasing collabs, like what's going to happen, right? Like how much he's going to die down. We don't know, because it's have yet to be seen. The difference is with Ice Spice's, her blow up was late last year, like 2022. So she's considered a best new artist for this Grammy season because last year she didn't qualify for it because it wasn't in that time frame. But we've had so much more time with her to see her like down period in terms of like, you know, when she's, you know, making music and not like actively doing like social media and releasing things. But so I think it's like it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like it's hard to compare Noah and Ice Spice in terms of a popularity contest, because even though they're both best new artists, they are at different points in their career in terms of like popularity, like when they blew up and trying to capitalize on that. But anyway, keeping this short and sweet and not continuously talking about this forever like it's a podcast, I was going to pick Ice Spice, and then I listened to you talk and be like, I don't think they're going to go with popularity. And I'm like, I think you're right. I think I'm going to pick Victoria Monet.
I think you should go with your like heart.
Yeah, that's my heart, is that Victoria Monet is going to win. And so I'm going to go with that.
I don't know. It's an aesthetic. It's just, I think when you think Grammys, you get this sort of idea of like, just the way Gracie's style is and like her photo shoots and everything. I don't know. It just all like screams. And I don't know. I'm going to be wrong. I feel like I will say I'm going to be wrong. But I just need to go with like what I think could play out. Because that will be a huge shock as well. But I also do agree that no artist should ever be like victim to like for clicks or anything.
Let's just say,
I don't think they would play
absolutely
that,
not. I just want to say something. I no, absolutely not. That like just, we love all of these artists that are nominated. We're picking people because we have to, and it's when we talk down on people's records and we think that, oh, like we don't think this album deserves this award, it's because we have to pick one, and it's an honor to be nominated. So everyone, like, it's like all of these are incredible albums. That's why it's so hard. That's why we have a whole fucking video on this, right? Like, but so just like, we're not trying to be mean to any artist and being like, you're not going to get this award when I say that. It's not about that. It's just about me knowing the Grammys and having watched the Grammys for so long and what kind of stuff they pick, and trying to pick based on that, pretty much.
Literally, we don't hate. I think, again, we'd have no like opportunity to hate or to like dissect any of these. We can't sing, we can't write. Like, it is just one of those things that's like, we're dissecting it from fan perspective and like sort of from the artists that we've had the most fun with, and like if we're even talking about like Ray from changing from Ice Spice to Victoria, like even just like talking about Ice Spice or like even Fred again, like the blow ups and everything that all these people have had, and the amount of work that they put all into the records, like it's insane. It's like it's hard to like to narrow them down. And there's definitely ones that we listen to more, but it doesn't. That's why we're talking about it so much, because I think we're trying to play out the whole like who we prefer and like why we prefer like their music, because we've listened to it more or anything. Like, we're trying to break it down more. But yeah, we don't hate anybody. We're just chilling and we're trying to make music fun, and because music is I don't know, music's fun, but
it's our hobby. Listening to music is our hobby, which is such an insane thing to say. Anyway, let's move on to Song of the Year. So I mentioned before, and I think this is a very important distinction when you think about the winner, is Song of the Year recognizes a song for its songwriting and for its songwriters. So, versus Record of the Year, which we're going to get to right after this, acknowledges a song for its production and engineering and all of that stuff. So, these are the nominees for Song of the Year.
Could you sound like you're on
Billie
the Grammys
Eilish.
right now? Sorry, I would just. So
I literally do. This is the nominees. Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For? We have Dua Lipa, Dance the Night. John Batiste, Butterfly. Lana Del Rey, A&W. Miley Cyrus, Flowers. Olivia Rodrigo, Vampire. SZA, Kill Bill. And Taylor Swift's Antihero. I feel like this is tough. Yeah. From my perspective, it comes down to What Was I Made For an Antihero, which is literally what I alluded to when we were talking about best pop solo performance, because What Was I Made For is so well written. And when you think about a songwriting perspective, I love Antihero. And it hurts my soul because Taylor has never won Song of the Year, famously, even though she is one of the most well-renowned songwriters in the world. She was nominated last year for All Too Well 10-minute version, which I think is some of her best songwriting. She was nominated for Cardigan. You know, again, some amazing songwriting. I thought when Antihero came out, I was like listening to it and listening to the lyrics, and my first thing, one of the things that I thought when Antihero came out was, this is Song of the Year material. This is like a single that's a bop that works. Like, you think of something like Shake It Off, for example. Like, it was nominated for Song of the Year, but it wasn't really like Taylor's best songwriting, right? So it makes sense why she didn't win. But Antihero was like, but it was a single because it was good for radio. Was good for radio, and it was really good songwriting, and I was like, she's gonna win with this. And then, but I hate it because she so deserves to get a Song of the Year award finally. And I think What Was I Made For is just like so much more, like, it's just such an incredibly written song. It was perfect for where it was in Barbie. I don't know. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I initially had 3 choices for this. It was Antihero, Kill Bill, and what Was I Made For? Then I instantly took out, right, so SZA's and Taylor are like, there's been a lot of discussion about obviously the Grammys and SZA and Taylor and like what's to come up. We'll talk about it next.
Yeah,
I think Kill Bill isn't the strongest choice for this category. No. I think there's a lot more on SOS that speaks on a lot more and has a lot more to say. Even like if I just go for the top of my mind, like it's not as like content filled, but the dialogue it has is like even like special, is like such an interesting and like important song. So Kill Bill was like it's an amazing song. The songwriting is awesome. I've seen it live, an amazing performance live, everything like that. But I had to like rethink that because I don't think it. There's definitely a better song. Not a better song. There's another song I probably would have chosen for the category if it was like if I was putting like my suggestions in. And then it just come back down to like,
I think they have to pick singles because like
fair,
again,
actually.
like there's better songwritten songs off Midnight's too. So I think it has to be a single.
I just know nothing. I talk shit constantly. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. So next when it comes to, it is obviously Antihero and What Was I Made For. I chose What Was I Made For best pop solo performance. But I think it's Taylor's year. Even though we talk about like it, Antihero being like a bop for like radio and it not having as much sort of like in it as other songs on like Midnights, I think there's still a lot of like amazing lyricism in it, and there's a lot of like the storytelling in it is really good. It touches on a lot of like what I think they kind of look for in this category. and we always kind of broke down the lyrics and stuff, but there is like a lot of like nods to certain things, and like it's, I don't know, I think maybe this isn't Taylor's strongest like suggested song for like this category, but it is like a really decent one. And since I chose what was I made for best pop solo performance, I think I'm gonna go with Taylor in this one. But I also agree with you, like it's hard to sort of place what was I made for like out of this category, because it stands for what it talks about and what the dialogue opens up, and just for where it's placed and what it actually like was made for is like so important. couldn't help myself. It was really important, so it's gonna be a tough one. I'd love to see Taylor take it home. I think she deserves it. And there's just so many strong songs in this. Like, we've not even mentioned Lana once, but like Lana's always so incredibly strong to come into this. Like, Vampires in this,
it sucks because like A&W is such a good song, and I think it's just the field is really competitive this year, which makes it really hard to be like, like she's gonna win, but you know, it's still such a good song.
Even Dua Lipa, like Dance the Night, like it's a lot more like it's a lot different to like sort of the other songs on this list, but it's like Dua Lipa is an incredible artist and like never misses ever. There's just so much to choose from. I'm gonna have to go with Taylor on this one, but I would obviously I think Billie could obviously take it, but I think I'm gonna stick with Taylor, and we're gonna hope she brings it home.
So, okay, let's move on to Record of the Year, because it kind of ties into Song of the Year very well. So, like I said before, Record of the Year acknowledges a song for its production and engineering. So, that's what we thought about when we decided what we thought would win this. So, we have Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For? We have Boy Genius, Not Strong Enough. Jon Batiste, Worship. Miley Cyrus, Flowers. Olivia Rodrigo, Vampire. SZA, Kill Bill. Taylor Swift, Antihero. And Victoria Monet, On My Mama. Jack, why don't you go first for this one?
Okay. Gonna say it with full chest. Not Strong Enough. I would love to see this.
That's a good one.
It's definitely an out there choice, but
yeah.
Boy Genius are incredibly strong when it comes to like you've literally got three powerhouses behind the writing of these songs and like the performance.
Oh
like,
yeah.
They're all incredible at what they do, and I can't like every song they've released through Boy Genius, like their trio, like has been. I don't think there's been a bad one, but it's Not Strong Enough is like the opposite of what it's named. Like it is such a strong contender. There is obviously like the ones we've seen previously in the list and stuff, but I'd love to again see Taylor take this home. I believe she could. I think Antihero is such a strong contender in all these categories, and same with What Was I Made For, because that's in here as well.
Yeah.
Flowers, again, I keep bringing these up because they're all amazing, but I think this is more of like a thing I'd love to see, like not even taking it down to like, because you can like kind of battle these all songs up together against each other and like pick out what's good about certain ones and why. And they all belong on there. But I'd love to see like Boy Genius take it. I just think it'd be such like an amazing moment. Because the song is deserved. Yeah, that's my hot pick.
I think Record of the Year, personally, I think Taylor's got this in the bag.
Love that.
I think Not Strong Enough is a really good choice. I think it's one of the contenders. I think Vampire is a good contender, but I just think in terms of production, all of these songs, I have to pick Antihero. And I do think that the Grammys will also pick Antihero just because of they have to give Taylor an award.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to let her leave with nothing.
There will be riots.
Yeah. So this is probably what she's going to win. Because I don't think she's winning Album of the Year, which we're going to get to after this. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Like, for me, this is in the bag for Taylor. But I'm very willing to be wrong and have Boy Genius win, to be honest.
That would be so cool, right? Like, it would be genuinely the coolest thing ever.
It would be cool. Okay, let's move on to Album of the Year. We have Boy Genius, The Record, Janelle Monáe, The Age of Pleasure, John Batiste, World Music Radio. Lana Del Rey, Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard? Miley Cyrus, Endless Summer Vacation. Olivia Rodrigo, Guts. SZA, SOS, and Taylor Swift, Midnights. So a lot of incredible albums on this list. We did talk about this on the podcast as well. I think that SZA, SOS is going to win this. I think in terms of a well-rounded album that has incredible songwriting, incredible production, and a very like well-packaged piece that tells an incredible story, I think SOS is probably the one on this list that checks all of those boxes.
Yeah, I'd love to disagree, but I think this is what we were talking about on the podcast. We think this is the hardest category to, not so hardest category to judge, but if you're putting Taylor and SZA against each other in this category, it's really hard to sort of pick one. Midnight's stunning album, production's awesome, the storytelling throughout the album incredible. Again, Boy Genius, the record, stunning from start to finish. What they're bringing to the table is like unique and great. And there's a lot of artists that are like now coming into that genre and that style, and it's really cool to see. Lana Del Rey, always like an amazing choice. I don't think this is their strongest piece of like album. Monet, The Age of Pleasure, beautiful album, same with John. And my Endless Summer Vacation and Guts. Olivia would be, I want to see Olivia win something. I don't know what category it would be in.
I know, I want her to
it's
win
just
so
sad
bad.
There's such a a hard, like there's so many.
It's a tough year to win.
And then Miley Cyrus again always deserves a spot at least on the board, even if she doesn't take it home. Like her, she's stunning, in everything that she does. But I think I'm gonna have to. I really want to pick Midnight just to like have like one of these things where it's like, oh, like who's gonna pull it off, but I can't. That SOS was like such an important drop.
It's I don't know, like something about SOS is like you just can't, like you I'm gonna be shocked if it doesn't win, but the Grammys have done more shocking things in the past, so we will have to wait and see. And if you do want to watch it, make sure to join our Discord in the link below. But that is all the awards we're going to go through for now. I've written down what we said for every single one, so we will be back after the Grammys to react to everyone who won and tell the Grammys that they're wrong.
I'm actually really excited to where this is going to go. If you want to watch live, I guess I can't speak. If you want to watch live with us again, like, and see your reaction, not much a reaction, but like experience the shock with us, you can join the Discord. And yeah, we'll be going over it in another episode after the Grammys airs. But let us know your like sort of like ideas for like your picks in the comments and everything like that, or like tweet us on socials if you're on a podcast platform. It's going to be an exciting year. I hope there's a lot of upsets, like a lot of things that we chose. I honestly hope some of them don't come up, because I'd love to see like an amazing like artist get it that we've not even like sort of put in our like two and stuff. Like everybody in here is so deserving. Again, we're not doing this at like we think this artist is better than another. We can't write, we can't fucking sing, we can't do anything like that. So we are genuinely just taking it as a fan's perspective and just having fun with it and just see what can come from it. But
true.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you.
Thank you for watching.
In the next one.
And make sure to subscribe.
Do that.
If you're watching.
Please sub. Look, it lights up. See, when I say subscribe on YouTube, it lights up.
Subscribe.
See, it's gonna light up again.
Wow.
And if I say like,
Magic.
it should also light up. I don't know if it does. It should.
Like.
We should just say all episodes. It just lights up constantly. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next one. Bye.
Bye.